address again?
1043 St. John. Casper, wow.
Can we have your date of birth?
Fourth month, 8th day, and 26.
Say that again.
4/8/26.
How long have you lived in Casper?
40 years.
Where did you come from?
Oklahoma.
What part of Oklahoma, Easter?
Boley.
How do you spell it?
Boley.
Is that where you're born and raised? In Bowling?
Can you just tell us about your life?
Just a second, Liz. What brought you from Bowley to Casper?
My sister.
In her name?
Violet Roseburg.
Vala what?
Violet Roseburg.
How do you spell her first name?
Violet.
Was she living here already?
Yes.
Okay. Did you come for a visit, or did she invite you out for a visit, or
No,
what?
she invited me out to stay.
Were you single at the time, or
No,
married?
married
You-
with, how many I have here? 2.
Uh,
5 kids. I
yeah.
came here with 5 children.
It was Lee and you and 5 kids?
No.
No, first husband.
My first husband. My first husband, which was a colonel. Robert Colonel.
Rollo?
Robert.
Robin. And 5 kids, wow. Okay. Aging in what? I mean, what span of ages?
From 10 to 5.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was about 5 when so Lorene had to be 10.
I was from 10, and I was,
I was about 5.
and my baby was, which was
Melanie.
Deborah.
Oh.
She was about
So
5 months old.
Yeah. No, she had to be 3.
Well, she wasn't too old.
Okay, so
Why?
did you,
Now, why? I had left my husband and came here.
oh, you left your husband, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You can
Okay.
leave that out.
No, it's already on the video.
You got it. I've got a couple of those behind me. I leave them out too. Okay, so you were really a single parent with 5 kids, and your sister invited you out.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
Can you just tell us about your life starting from when you were living here to Casper?
Well, really, it wasn't too much because I came here in the year of 57, and I lost my husband in 59, my first husband. And at that time, I worked up and supported my children.
What kind of work?
I did.
Indentured servant.
Okay.
Housework.
I know
Indentured
you,
servant.
that's what you
Yeah.
know.
We're
Well,
finding
beside
that a lot
that,
of
I
people-
didn't do too much.
Data control too.
I worked for data control, and
For who?
It was called
Charlie
data.
oh,
It was called data control services at that time.
you don't remember that, huh?
Yeah, I do. Now that you mention it. They were up on the hill, weren't they?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But I worked with them when they was out at Sunrise.
Okay.
See, they moved from Sunrise up there.
Okay, can we go back to the housework? How did you find the work as cleaning people's houses? Did the employment services send you, or you just established your own clientele?
I came here, I don't know, like I came today, I don't know exactly what it was, a Friday, Saturday, or what day I arrived here in Casper. I went to work, I went down to the employment office.
Okay.
They sent me out, which I had never done day work in my life. Housework or whatever, domestic work.
That's what we're finding, Easter. There are a number of you who went to that unemployment office and wound up
And
cleaning
that's the
houses.
first
where
thing
they
they directed me out to this man's house to clean his house.
Was that Charles E. Holloway?
No, it was a drunkard.
Oh, this is another one.
But anyway,
Mhm.
I didn't like it at all, because see, I'm looking for work to support my children, and he wanted other work. This was a white man, so I did that one day's work, asked for my pay, in which I didn't go back there. And how did I start working for? I worked for Buster's. old man buster. Not the grandson, not the son, but William, the old man. I did work for his wife and the Rabs. The Rabs and don't ask me how I met them and how I started working for them. I really don't know.
Doing cleaning houses.
You don't think it was?
Well, it might have been through. It might have been through. See, I used to do night, help clean buildings, and my sister and husband, Johnny and Val, they was cleaning the First National Bank. I'm sure that's how I met. I was cleaning the First National Bank. I used to clean the buildings and that more so than I did domestic work at home, at houses. I didn't do too much of that, but I did that other kind of work, janitorial work, I guess I would say.
It's all the same.
It's cleaning. And I think that's where I must have met these, because I worked for the Rabs, Buster, and then I worked for Judge Forster.
That's my
That's
grandpa.
Your
uncle?
what?
My great grandpa.
Your great grandfather?
Who,
Wow.
Who is?
Judge Forster.
Yes, but which one? It was one girl.
Wilma D. Forster is his wife. She's my great grandma. Is that the same one?
Judge Forster's dead.
Yeah.
They all dead. Now, he
Yeah.
must have remarried. What was your great? Now, you can cut that off.
No. This is part of the. It's part of the picture.
Because her name is Wilma D. Forster. And she was married to somebody named George Forster, who's dead now.
Chris, get a picture of Crystal doing this, please.
So this would be her great grandchild. His great grandchild, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back to the
His
Foster.
kids.
Yeah.
Which what she's talking about is
Okay.
his children having their children, and she's a branch off of.
That's what I know, but I'm
Yeah.
trying
Is this
to.
on your mother's or father's side, Crystal?
My mom's.
And
Yeah,
what's your
well,
mom's name?
Carol.
What's your mom's maiden name? Forster?
No, it starts with an S. Shelton.
Carol Shelton is your...
Yeah, she lives in Colorado.
Working, they needed someone to clean the house, and a friend of mine, Lucille Brother, asked me if I wanted to help her out. This was part, she was doing work for them, and I told them yes. So I go there, and she meet me at the door and tell me, that might be where I found other jobs too. If you don't want to come in and clean my house, you don't have to. At this time, I had 5 children.
Who said this to you?
Judge
Forster?
Forster's wife at this time. She's been dead twice, and she was killed in an accident. And
The same story. Yep.
She's alive.
see, this is what I'm thinking.
His first wife.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
You
Okay.
talk to your mom tonight, check it out, and we'll get back to you.
Cause I think that's why she keep. I
You're
keep
thinking
saying,
it might be 2 different Forsters.
I don't remember but one
I
judge
don't think
here.
so neither.
I don't remember but one. Now this judge, he became judge. He used to be a teller at the bank first.
Well, when did he die?
I don't know.
Like 84, 85?
No, way before then.
You can bet she'll go home and talk to her parents tonight,
Yeah,
learn more
because-
about her own heritage. now.
This had to be, if this went, Judge Forster and his wife, the children I used to take care of, 2 boys and a girl.
So would,
They
did one of the boys
separated.
become a judge?
I don't know.
She
Okay.
doesn't know. They left, she did, his first wife left, and they went to Mexico and take
Because I
her-
could have sworn that Judge Forster gave him my divorce decree back in 1975.
It's been way back.
Yeah.
It's been way
I
back.
think you gave
And
me mine, too.
this seemed like to me, this must be some of the offspring.
It is. It's a great grandchild. That's 2 generations down.
We'll get it figured out.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's 2 generations down.
But
Judge
anyway,
Forrester's wife came out and said, you don't have to clean my house.
because the house, my house is a mess at the end of the day. And I walked in, she had paper from here to there. And I looked at it. And I needed money. Because I had those 5 children. Although I was with my sister. I said, it doesn't matter. She said, what you need. She had to give me money to go buy all the cleaning equipment that I needed. She didn't have nothing to clean. Yeah. And I love those people, George and her too. I really did love those people. They was really nice to me. And, well, I'm trying to see now. After then, what did I do? I stopped working for a while. I did. And I did not work again until Control Data. And from Control Data,
What year did you start at Control Data? Can you remember? Generally,
no.
60s by now.
She had to be employed there before '63 because this is when we moved here. You was at Control Data when we moved here, so it had to go back.
Well,
Well,
okay.
they
If you came here in '57 Easter and you cleaned house, how long were you a house cleaner?
Not very long.
For less than a year, maybe.
Oh, maybe, oh no.
No, you're getting it confused because now you was in that type of service for more than 11 years.
Oh, you mean when I was housekeeping for,
That's not the same.
well, yeah, but I mean, at that time I was working for the school system.
That didn't matter. You
Well,
had that on.
Oh, you, well, okay, because weekends I would go out and take care of the Holloways. You want me to bring the Holloways in on
Because
that?
that's part of your history.
Oh, well, I can go back there and bring him in.
Tell
but
me
you-
about the Holloways. Who are the Holloways?
people I work with. They,
You want to get that?
no, let down some
Answer your
machine, pick it up.
Why don't
the
we- why
volume.
don't put that on
Can you
pause,
turn the
though?
ringer off?
No, I didn't. I quit data control.
So you went from what you just told us to Data Control, then to Charles E. Holloway.
No, I was working for them then.
Okay.
I started working from, well, I have done so much different work since I've been here. I used to be a waitress at the Petroleum Club.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
See, you don't want to know all these things.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
I do,
do.
because we're finding out some stuff about all these. It's part of the picture, Easter.
And when I first came here, see, that's what I did, day work, and then I was a waitress, because I served drinks at the Petroleum Club. Also, I was a hat check girl at what is the hotel that was, for this one on this side.
Gladstone and the Henny.
Henning, Gladstone, and Townsend.
Right.
The Townsend's one is still there, which is the one that was right across the street from
Gladstone.
Gladstone, yeah.
the Gladstone. Well, then that's the one I work for.
You
I'm
go,
gonna
girl.
go back
hat
and ask you
check,
some
huh?
questions about those experiences. Go ahead, keep telling me what else you've done.
Oh, my mind goes and comes. You have to pick it up from where
That's
it's
okay.
coming
You
to.
go ahead and just randomly.
But see,
whatever
I
comes
did that.
up. Uh-huh.
Then after I lost my husband, which he died in '59, and then I stayed single to '69. But see, I didn't do that much work in between. Yes, I did. When did I start working for the school system?
I cannot tell a lie. I don't know.
I got to think right now. 66,
Take-
69.
You started school district in '69.
Yes.
And your official role with the school district was what? What was your duty?
Supervisor of the laundry,
Of the.
school laundry.
Which was primarily targeted for the athletic programs.
Okay.
Oh, not really, it wasn't. I
was.
worked.
Is there still a laundry department?
Yes, it's
Yes,
still
there
there.
It was primarily
It's still out at Old Wood School. But I started at NC with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how the athletic programs are prima donna programs in the school.
Tell me about it. I'm a reading teacher.
But in between times, I did not leave my children to work. At the time, I had lost my first husband, and I was drawing VA veteran pension and Social Security. That was my main income coming in. So really, that's why I survived with my children. And when they got old enough, the last one that was old enough, then that's when I started working full time.
Old enough to do what? Go back to school or go to work? Which you talking about when your baby went
To be in school. To be
Yeah,
in
but
school.
the way she said that, it was like we all graduated and she went back to work.
And you retired what year then?
89.
89.
You have to
So
look
you
at
were with the school district 20 years.
20 years.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I have to check my plat up there.
Now we're going to start asking you some more specific questions, or I am right now.
Okay, because my mind goes and comes.
I'm going to
told
take you back to some things you said, and I want you to elaborate on them. Tell me about Charles E. Holloway. Who is he, and what did you do with him?
His housekeeper.
Housekeeper?
Him and his wife.
Okay. And?
Mostly on the weekend. I guess it won't bring it. Well, he was with the oil. He was an oil man. So really, I don't know how to put that there. He's an alcoholic or what.
yeah, they were
They
alcoholics.
was that, but
What was his ethnic background?
I don't know.
You don't remember? Was it Greek?
Yeah, he wasn't a white. You know what I'm saying, Holly? He
yeah.
wasn't white. He went as a white man, but they was not white.
During these periods of employment doing housekeeping services for white people, were you treated with dignity?
Them I worked with, yes.
They were good, okay.
Right.
Now, waitress at the Petroleum Club, were you aware of any discrimination going on in the Petroleum Club at all?
No.
Okay.
Not at that time.
Not at that time. What about at the Gladstone Hotel? We've heard it's not rumors. We've heard facts that the Gladstone, Henning, and Townsend would not serve black people, would not let them go in the bars, would not let them drink in the bars.
And see, I wasn't drinking. I didn't notice that because I worked there as a hat check. I worked in the club part when the people come in. You know what a hat check on. You
Yeah.
got your little booth here.
Right.
They give you your coat and hat, you hang it up, and when they leave, so I'm not knowing what goes on there now. In the Petroleum Club, in which it wasn't any black, and that time, you could count black on your hand. And many family of black people's here. When I first came here, I was treated better than I am nowadays. And through the years, from the first year I came here, it is more discrimination now than it was when I first came here because it wasn't that many black people here.
So I have to ask, between that period of 59 to 69, which you're talking about a 10-year span, that there wasn't the colored signs hung up where blacks had to come in the
Oh, I
back
was
door?
denied service to take me out here.
That's what she was
That's where I wanna
basically
go.
asking.
Where and
But
give
you
me the-
see, it was, I can't think of the little drive-ins. It was on 2nd Street, I can't think of them, and I asked those people then, I wanted some hamburgers to go to bring home to my children. Okay, the drive-in, I can't think of the drive-in.
Where was it located?
Let me get mine. Somewhere right around in the neighborhood, Bell Telephone Company there, a couple blocks back north.
Rex's Drive-In by any chance?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. They didn't want to serve the black. You drive up and ask them, may I have,
A Coke and a hamburger, and I'm sorry, man, we can't serve you.
they would tell you we don't serve niggers. And they then said we didn't ask for no niggers, we asked for a hamburger.
Was
That's
this during the
the winter.
60s, 70s? When?
Yeah, that's during the beginning. That had to be right before the civil rights movement came in.
So that has to be
That
the
was it.
50s.
That was the tail end of the first beginning of the 60s.
Mhm.
And the end, then that was because when we knew that if we were denied service, eating place, we could close them down. All we
And
had to
what
close.
other places denied you eating service?
Them the only two that I can recall right now because they need too much out.
What about the women's clothing stores? Were you ever denied the ability to try on something before you bought it?
I wasn't.
Never? Okay.
But I guess you would have to ask her, is it of her personal trait to try on things? See, you have to, some people like to and some people don't. Now you have to ask her, is that her
No,
character?
I wasn't denied nothing there because, okay,
Because she just throw the dress in front of me and said, it'll fit and go sit down.
we wasn't denying nothing to J.C.
No,
Penney's
we shopped at
J.C.
JCPenney's
Penney's,
and
Sears.
Sears.
and Sears. And let me see, what other story?
Mary Jackson told us that in Porter's Quality Shop there were women's clerks who would not wait on her.
But those are more elite stores you're talking about. You're not talking about your run-of-mill
But you know
department
what?
store.
My aunt's 92 years old, and she bought her clothes there all the time.
At Klein's and Porter's.
Yes, and
Okay, then there
Bertie
was a
did.
steward shop
Is
too.
your
was
aunt
in
still here?
existence.
Yes, but she is 92.
What's her name?
Bertie Arbor.
No, we can't interview her. We've already tried, so.
I denied it. I denied that interview.
You did?
I did.
Why?
Because her mind, right now.
Mm-hmm.
So see her mind. She can be thinking it go and back. So therefore, I didn't want her, because she will say, what did she say? She had a stroke,
Okay.
and you couldn't really understand her. Yeah, I denied that.
That-
Yeah,
Not-
she
not
sounds
even-
like the oldest living resident that we
She
have,
is.
and so we were real disappointed when we
She
couldn't
is.
talk
Well,
to
I
her.
denied that, because she had a stroke, and she would look up at me and say anything that you'd ask her a question, and she'd look at me and say, Easter, what are they talking about? Then I would have to answer you just like I'm not talking to you now.
Okay.
I denied that, Holly,
Okay.
because I take
respect
care
that.
of her.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And, oh, you see if my hand been up there? I might put a piece of paper on next.
Easter, what about housing? When you first came here, you lived with your sister, right?
Yes.
And where was your sister? What? Was she in North Casper? Or?
Yes.
Okay, then did you go out, did you live
You
with her for a
could-
long time, or?
Yes. You couldn't leave out of North Casper. They weren't allowed. Let me change that. They would not rent or sell to the black people unless you was in North Casper.
That's
Uh,
anywhere in town, or?
If we wanted to go, say, out, where can I say now? Across the railroad track. You know what I'm saying? Just on the other side of downtown, either way.
But it wasn't developed as it was.
No, it wasn't, but they would not sell to the black.
Right.
When I bought this house here, my, see, I told you I forget.
Realtor.
No, what you call the stacker, when it was built, and then when it was sold, each time it was sold, a name on it.
Your deed.
It's not a deed, but it's like
Mortgage?
it's not, that is not what you call it. But anyway, on that, it could be the deed, but it's not a deed. On that, it
Title
said,
certificate.
something like this, I don't know which. It said, do not sell to black. This house here, when we bought it, it says, do not sell to black.
That has to be
Did
your
it,
title.
did it say black or Negroes, or what did it say?
It had to say, you know, we just use the black in the later years. It says Negro.
Hmm.
And the title, or the, whatever this is, that was the bank that
It
had
had to be
that?
the title, that was the title,
The bank or
Or
the
the
realty
mortgage
company?
lender.
You go get, they have a book, the stack is, some of them are that thick. And you go through all that and
What
you
she's
find
talking
out.
about.
It could be the towel, it came from, I don't have that towel, see, they keep that. It must be at the towel place, I'm sure that'll be a switch. Oh, no, they wouldn't sell, no.
So in other words, you're saying that they intentionally, collectively put the blacks over here in North Casper as they migrated here to Casper.
They did.
But if this house said do not sell to blacks, how were you able to finally buy here?
The woman sold it to us,
The who?
the individual. But the town started back, do not sell to Negroes. Yeah. Well, you see, my aunt had a business up here on East Yellowstone. Right where, is it Sweetbread, or where is that at?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Sweetbread?
That American secondhand furniture, American Pond.
Right
that-
along in that
area.
block,
Mhm.
block along there. She owned nightclub and also rooming houses there. See, it was different spots, places, what I want to say, here in Casper that the black could stay there. She was the oldest, which is my great aunt, the woman, Miss Lockhart. Her name was Nellie Lockhart. And if you knew the white people, you know that for yourself, Holly. If you know white people, and they really know you're a good person, and you're trying to do something, they will back you. So that's how she got this out. You had, now Charlie Holloway, see, he was well known here as an oil man.
Mhm.
I had no trouble. I could do almost anything. If anything, I felt like I discriminated. I tell him or his wife, they get right on it, and whatever it would be, it would be cleared up for me because they cared for me. She did. She was an alcoholic, and I stayed by her until she died.
But beautiful characters, beautiful personalities, people that really didn't.
And they came from Oklahoma too. The Holloways came from Oklahoma.
Okay, so in '69 you started with school district. Is that where you met Lee then, or?
Oh, I met him before then. In between time.
You met him sometime during the '60s, huh?
In the 60s, right?
And when did you marry him then?
In 69.
Okay. So tell me about the school district, Mr.
You don't want to hear it.
I do too.
No, you don't.
Go ahead, girlfriend. This is your day. It's 15 minutes of fame. Get it.
No, really. I didn't have too much trouble. I really didn't. But the reason why I didn't have, before you write anything, the reason why I didn't have anything when Fred Pierce was here as, because I was going to file Chapter 9.
So you did have problems.
No, I didn't. I mean,
Why
See,
were you going to file
because
Chapter 9?
everyone else, like we started off part-time, everybody that will say custodians, aides, or whatever, not teachers now. I'm now classified, not certified. Okay, let me get the word. Classified people, this is what I'm going to instead of certified. Okay, now, most of them work part-time. Okay, during the Civil Rights Movement, which was in 65, started in 64 and 65, you could file,
That chapter.
yeah, if you didn't fit discrimination, if you felt like you weren't treated right. Okay, in the meantime, the white girl I worked with, 2 or 3 of them, they put them on full-time.
So you guys were hired at the same time.
No, they was hired before I was.
Okay.
But they was all working part-time. And then, okay, they put all of them on, which I think I was the only black woman at this time in the system, put them on full-time. So I decided to file Chapter 9, discrimination. It got as far as the Hill. And Fred Pierce called me and says, Easter, are you going through with the discrimination? I said, yes, I'm part-time. Everyone else, full-time. I'm part-time. And he turns around and says, no, you're not. You've been a full-time person. I said, since when? You always been. From that day on, I was a full-time person. And from then on, you know, Holly, how I was treated. Yes, when you was over the teachers, I had no trouble with the system.
You heard about what's happened to Fred Pierce?
No, he don't have a position.
Yeah, he went on to be superintendent down in, it was like Colorado, one of those towns like Lyman, one of those, I don't remember. Sexual harassment
That's what I
charges
thought.
by 7 teachers. He got fired. I have no idea where he is now.
Oh, okay. I knew he went to Colorado
Yeah.
down there, but I heard he had a problem down there. In which, well, you can see that here.
But wait a minute. I got to back up now to the discrimination suit. I don't have that ironed out. Now, you said these girls were hired before you, but they was put on ultimately at full time.
Well,
Was it a time period that you was angry about? Because if they was hired before you, they had the right to be.
No, they didn't. Some of them was hired. Now, Lonnie was hired before I was. She was the only. He didn't have but 2 women in the school system. As a classified, not certified, as
Okay.
classified. Okay, that was the Bush wife's mother.
Bush wife mother.
Mhm. She lived right over here.
Oh, Santa Stevens.
No.
What's her name? Lonnie.
Lonnie Neal is the one that they had down here at NC.
Not Santa Stevens, but I can't think of her name. You mean with the two girls, got the two daughters that married Chuck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't think of their last name now neither.
They're all dead. I can't think of. Well, she was hired after I was. See, and then they put her on full time.
And she was white.
He was white.
Yeah, maybe you might remember she was highly handicapped working over at KW up
No,
until
she wasn't. She wasn't that handicapped in later years.
when I worked with her, she couldn't even bend her hand.
Oh no, she couldn't. She couldn't really.
You
She
don't
was
remember?
custodian.
Okay.
And she couldn't.
I can't think of
but
her last
she
name.
Holly's at East. Aren't
It
you
doesn't-
still at East?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm part
I
of the
can't
woodwork
remember her
there.
name.
But anyway, I. No, I call them
Shell?
Charlene.
Oh, Charlene?
Charlene Williams is the one that put in for a position here, and they denied her. Because she wasn't qualified. It wasn't qualified because she was black.
Now, Shell Mack was able to come back in here,
She taught a while. Michelle did.
but they put her more or less in diagnostic testing.
And
That
all,
wasn't during the 50s and 60s.
no,
Oh,
no,
This is
no, this is
50s.
later
Later,
years.
yeah.
It's just like a Juanita Downing's daughters here now.
Right.
We got 2 or 3, 4 or 5.
She's talking about the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
weren't any
No.
African-American teachers in the 50s and 60s.
No.
Probably not too many in the 70s. It started changing in the 80s. there.
Right.
I think you're
And
right.
what about classified personnel? Same thing, same story? Was the district hiring?
No,
Okay.
Oh, there's buku positions for non-whites and classified, huh?
sure it was. Lee was one of the first blacks that went for the, be hired on the, as classified. And Charlie E. Holloway got him that position because, see, like I said, the all, the all people this time, if they, a white man and woman cared for you, you had no problem. If you tell them that I would love to go to such and such a place. No, it wasn't no black in the school system who were working that kind of work. And the reason how I started was they was going around during the civil rights movement in 64 and 65 wanting to know, oh, do you know any black would like to work for the school system? The school system was asking for blacks so they could put their quota on. And they came and asked me. They wanted a woman this time.
So that was the
And I
affirmative
sit
action
there.
program
Yeah.
that was in effect?
Yeah, and I'm sitting there, I don't know what. Then I thought, Holly,
Myself.
I thought, I am black. Why do I'm saying that? See, I don't mix color, and I wasn't thinking. And then I said, I'm black. So I go down and apply for a position. The man that hired me, he didn't know much as I did about it. But he was a white man. He didn't know. And I thought, well, so, he said, I don't know, you hired on and blah, blah, this and all this kind of stuff. But they was to get that quota that they had black in the system. Then and then it started spreading, and still not too many black in there now. I still to say. And they fought Lee more. Fought Lee to the very end, because he was the head custodian at NC, and he did not want it. He's still up there on the hill. What is his name? What is his name?
Which one?
Is this Harold Whitefoot? Is he still
Harold's gone now.
Oh, not Harold. 'Cause
Stan Wheatley's gone.
I know they gone.
Jim, what's his name?
The same one that we went on.
Cisco is gone.
No. The same one that we was up here when we had that meeting up here and nobody knew who called the meeting.
Oh, what's his name? Dwight, what's his name? Began with a D?
He was assistant principal down here at NC, and he got transferred up on the hill.
Dwayne?
What's his name?
Dwayne Beatty?
Beatty.
Oh, Wayne Beatty.
Wayne
Wayne Beatty. I knew it was something. Okay,
He
y'all.
fought Lee until Lee stepped down from being the head custodian at NC. He fought him all the way down.
Why did he fight him? I mean, what's going on? I don't understand here.
He was the only thing I could see was he was black.
Wayne did not want him to be.
He
head
did not
custodian?
want him to be because he would be over all the white as a head custodian.
So as what you're telling us is what I've heard from a child. You could work for the school system, but you couldn't hold a position. If
No,
you were
no,
black.
no.
Because they were stigmatized that the Caucasians, co-workers, absolutely refused to work under anybody that was in the management and there was a person of color. And that went on.
That was
It's still
Wayne.
even on today.
Wayne Beatty, he fought him and Lee stepped down. He got the position, and he stayed on him every time. He would not talk to Lee. He would write him a note. He would write him notes.
Making his job difficult
And then,
for him.
now, if you could go back, I kept some of his evaluation then, but he's been dead so long. Lee had good evaluation. Then, when Wayne Beatty wanted him to step down, he gave him the worst evaluation he could have. Anybody could have.
Lee had already been head custodian, and now Wayne's an assistant principal at NC at this time then. And so he's trying to get Lee out of that
He got
position,
him out.
and he succeeded.
He succeeded. And Lee stepped back down to be over just the custodian there because he needed the work. And at that many years he'd been there, why would he want to quit the position and then all his retirement is sit up there, he quit, buddy, and he's going to lose some of this and whatnot. Oh, yes, he did. He made sure and then, I'll tell you something about, Thelma Bremer.
Who?
Thelma Bremer. She
Yeah,
was
right.
a head, Thelma.
Okay, but that's a horse of a different color.
I know she was white, but Thelma worked under Lee, and she could get a lot from Thelma because that's where Thelma had Lee. Thelma followed right along, and Lee began to train her.
And what
He trained her as a
ultimately,
head
she
custodian.
said what she knows is what she learned from Lee. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been in
She
the
wouldn't have been
position.
able to hold it. And as long as Thelma was down there, I told her I would work with it. They refused me to meet with any of the custodians up on the hill because our contract says anybody that wanted to represent, that's the union, can represent. The Hill would not let me represent any of the people after I retired from the school system. They refused me. They'd have a meeting, I walk in, they would not have a meeting, they would cancel the meeting out.
But don't you think that has something to do with you being, what was your title with the union?
I was the president
Yeah.
once and then
How long
vice
was she
president.
president of the union?
I don't know how long I was there, but then I was vice
She's very
president.
active,
for-
and you
Yeah,
should be
very
very proud of
politically
this
active,
mother of
yeah.
yours too, because
And,
I was always impressed with her.
But anyway, I fought the system all the while I was in there, really I did.
She was president of the classified union. That means the employees who are not certified teachers, okay? And I was president of the teachers organization about 10 years ago, and that's how we know each other. But she would really stand up to the white bosses on the Hill, okay?
I stood up against her. And old Whitefoot,
Harold Whitefoot was a business manager.
when he said something other, and after then, because I told Fred Pierce, because I could kind of look at Fred would kind of help me out a little bit. Whitefoot and I got into an argument, and he told me he could do whatever he wanted. And I told him, the same person signed your check, signed mine. And you have orders to take as well as I did. He looked at me, I looked over at Fred. Fred and nobody, everything, we was in a meeting, got just as quiet. They dismissed the meeting, but I let him know. He didn't own the school system. He walked out and I looked over at Fred Pierce and I said, thanks a lot, Fred, for backing me. He said, you didn't need it. I said, you are the first person that put Whitefoot in his place.
In other words, you're saying that he was his equal?
He matched me, and Whitefoot would not speak to me in 6 months. Every time I walk in that, and he'd see me, he'd go another way.
He had a temper, he really did.
And he did.
Take it
He did come to my retirement party. All of them came but the superintendent.
Which
And that was the time.
Dave?
No, as the time both schools was going to NC when we had the
Asbestos.
asbestos up here at KW.
Speaking of schools, first of all, give us the names of your children, okay?
Lorene,
Okay, spell it, please.
Lorine,
Okay.
Robin,
Rita.
Jacqueline, Rita, Jacqueline. That's the reason why I had to stop. I'm stopping
We
the thing.
call her Rita.
Okay.
Ruth. This is Ruth here.
Mm-hmm. Ruth, what's your last name?
Hmm?
What's your last
Oh, I
name?
wasn't giving you. You wanted the last name?
Conley.
That sounds familiar to me.
Con-
No. She graduated in California.
Yeah, I didn't graduate here. But are you talking about East School? My son's going to East now, and his name is Kyle Conley.
Yeah.
That's my son.
Oh, I'm gonna go find Kyle. I don't know who he is, but I'm gonna find
You know Kyle.
And I miss Cantu's class.
You like him?
Yeah.
Is he okay?
Bad little boy in
Okay, your
Okay,
children
but-
right now. Lori, what's Lori's last name?
Lorraine.
Lorraine Proctor.
What's the last name?
Proctor. Like
Robin.
Proctor and
Procter and Gamble.
Gamble. Proctor.
Robin's last name?
Robert.
Conley.
That was coming. He's dead. I
Well, his
lost
still last name was Conley.
Conley. I lost him in 90.
Rita?
Smith.
Is Lorraine here in town or
No,
not?
she's in Kansas City, Missouri.
Rita,
Smith.
In Denver,
is she in Denver?
Aurora, wherever.
Jacqueline?
Jacqueline or Rita.
That's the same one.
That's the
Jacqueline
same
Rita,
one,
that's
okay.
the same one.
Yeah.
She's in Aurora.
Gotcha. Ruth, you're here. What do you do, Ruth?
What I do?
What you see
Raising my kids. House body.
Can we have your phone number so we can get hold of you?
Do I want to give you that number?
Pretty please?
Okay, 265-3285.
328. Okay.
And
And
Then it's a Deborah Ann Nickelberry.
Deborah,
Ooh, she gonna be upset, ain't she?
she changed her name on me, but I still call her Deborah. I
Then it-
named her Deborah,
then
and
it's
it
a-
always will be
Be
Deborah.
Deborah,
Is
right.
Deborah still here?
No, she's in
Colorado,
Aurora.
too.
She's in Aurora.
Colorado, too.
And then I have Melanie.
Mallory.
Mallory Grimes?
No.
Melanie Mallory.
Oh, Melanie Mallory. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. And where is she?
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, you got family all over, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then Zoe Grimes.
So it's here. I have 2 daughters here, 2 in
And she's
Colorado.
up Casper. And
And do you have Zoe's phone number you can give to us?
yeah,
Same
234-7200.
Same number here.
She lives here?
Oh, she lives right here.
Across the street.
These 3 shacks are mine.
Okay. All right. What were their experiences? Did all your children go through the public schools here then?
Mhm.
What were their experiences?
You have to ask them.
They were horrible.
She did.
Treated unfair, unjust
It's
The teachers?
by teachers, peers, the whole system. But you did have a few of people that were just human beings and looked at you as a human being instead of the color of your skin. They looked at the contents of your character instead of the color of your skin. It was some people in existence at that time in that era, and my person was that saved me to even graduating was Mary Ann Drew at a high school level.
Yeah, I know who she is.
You know her?
Yeah.
She made the difference in my life, and it does. One person can make a difference. She did make a difference because I was on the
Oh.
urge of quitting, not caring, being racial discrimination can go both ways. It just, white folks just ain't got the exclusive rights to it. But she gave me another path to take, which made me more balanced instead of more racially militant minded.
It is discrimination in the school.
Because
We'll really get in that with you in
that
your
was
interview
horrible,
too.
girl.
Okay.
Okay.
I was fighting instructors. It got to the point where I had to literally fight instructors.
Well, it's interesting. I'm seeing as they are too on the differences between the generations. Okay, there's really something emerging there too. Easter, were you ever? Did your children? You had so many children. Did they ever come home? Were most of their experiences very positive with the school system, or did they come home saying they were picked on? Anything like that?
Well, yeah. But they didn't have to come home. All they had to do was call.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. At this burner.
Yeah.
he was up at
But was any of our experiences positives when we ran home and said, Mama, look, I don't remember having, except for unless we was involved in the curricular activities there.
but otherwise, go ahead.
Otherwise, it had to be sports orientated where we got the positive praise, and otherwise it was. I mean, I remember the counselors telling me that it would never do me any good to do a college plan because all I was going to ever do was either become, you know.
Well, see, she went through, and my other children, they was good in track.
What other, was that at East?
No.
No, she was.
No, it's Dean Morgan and NCHS. And it's like, to me, we were programmed that we were never going to achieve. We weren't never going to make no high complications or achievements. You know, we were never going to achieve anything great. So, you know, just, you're just there. I mean, there was no college plans. There were, you know, no avenues for me. You know, if I wanted to go, I had to research all this on my own because it wasn't nothing given. Like, I always thought they did a plan with, you know, SATs, you know, seeing what college you fit in, where your aptitudes were, where your weaknesses. Girl,
What year did you graduate again?
I graduated,
72.
but I graduated not in California.
She was in California.
Yeah, I didn't finish up here.
But you're talking about
That was
60.
because of the negative encounter we had with a Mrs. Harris here at the NC.
Frances Harris?
She was an English lit teacher.
What happened to Frances?
Well, she pushed me and I kind of hit her. So then I was facing what, expulsion from the school system. And you know what, derogatory words were even used at that time. Because I remember when she took me to the office, she says, this black child, now she knew my name because I was one of her students in her class, assaulted me. And I said, well, this white woman pushed me. Now that was the report that we had with each other.
Well, they squished that. They squished that.
Did they?
The district did, yeah.
No, the principal.
Bush.
No,
Well, Moore.
no.
No, Reese.
Mr. Reese.
Yeah, it was Bush and Reese during my
That
era.
was there in your area, but at that time I was in the school when they called me. Holly, anytime I have always been available. In 5 minutes, I could leave this house and be where my children was in 5 minutes, and I made myself that way. Anything that happened, give me a call, and I will be there. And when that happened, one of the kids came down and told me about Miss Harrison Ruth. I was right there in the office. By the time they got down there, I was in that house, and we talked. And he just, okay, as long as she don't leave her alone, everything's fine. I'm sending them to get an education, to be educated, not to be picked on. And I mean, right now, I'm laying a little bit, but I can go anywhere here, and in my grandchildren, if they call me, you got me to
Contend with her.
contend with at any of them.
Because I got,
I've always been that way towards my children.
I remember.
I might have been overly protective of them, but they are coming the same way with their children.
Okay, I've got an important question to ask you. You said that when you first came here, you were treated better than you are now because there weren't that many blacks. What is it? How are you being treated now?
Now, if I can go, well, I'm just going to use an example. I can go to, well, I can say a Fast East place. And I can be standing in there. Those kids will turn around and look at me and says, I'm standing. May I help you?
To the person that's behind you?
Yeah, on the opposite side of me. It happens to me all the time. I can be in the
Supermarket?
no, the drive-in store, the store.
Drive-through.
Yeah, and I'll be looking around, and they'll come up there and says, I've been standing there with somebody else, white, different color. May I help you? And I can stand there. If I didn't need what I needed right then, I would walk out. But I sit there a lot of time and take that.
Are you talking like Kmart's, things like that, or what?
Well, the Kmart's different, because Kmart, you pick your own, and I mean like you're in, say, Penny's,
Okay,
Sears.
department stores.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
Oh,
to say.
they ignore you?
Oh, sometimes they do, yes. And
Oh,
sometimes I will walk. Sometimes I will wait until they ask to wait on me, and I tell them no, and I'll walk out.
What other things?
Well, that's just some of them. It'll come back to me when you leave.
Well, I'm gonna leave my phone number to you so you can call me anytime.
But I'm telling Holly, my mind, it goes, and I forget. Now, I can put something down and walk in the back room and come back, and I don't know where I put it.
I can do that too.
Well, I know it's not from old age, but I mean, I can think of a lot of things I could say to you after you leave.
Jot it down, huh?
Yeah, jot it down.
Oh,
And
well,
you can
I
have my
can.
phone number
See,
too.
she's saying that they ignore her as far as services, and I'm experiencing as soon as I can't even see what's hanging on the rack before they're swoop in my face. Can I help you? As if, I'm getting the feeling that they're, I'm going to steal something. That's what I sense from. They're instantly on you before you can even become aware what environment you're in, to even make a selection or to ask for assistance. It's like swoop, like I'm going to walk out of here with all their fine garments they have.
And then I have to walk and figure, well, I just walk out of here if I got to wait this long.
So there's a different treatment that we're picking up on.
Might be the age difference. Too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's an interesting.
I'm just looking back on any.
Do you have some soda pop that you can offer these people?
I don't know, look in the
Do you care for any?
look in the refrigerator, honey.
Sure.
See what
Your
I have.
aunt with the business on East Yellowstone, what was the name of the business? Do you remember? Okay.
You can find it either, you have to ask around. It was Nellie Lockhart. It was a nightclub, I told you it was a nightclub, but I can't think of the name of it.
Speaking of nightclubs, did you ever try to go in the Cozy Club here? You never did? You and Lee never did that kind of stuff, huh? Never. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Do you have any favorite memories, Rochester? A favorite memory?
Not right off. No, not right off, honey.
Do you have a worst memory?
No, I don't have that either.
Miss Holly, do you care for it?
She would. See,
No, thank you. I think I'm fine.
Okay, I'll drink.
Are there any other people you feel we should talk to?
really, I can't think right now, but really, where are you going, Holly?
I'm just going right here so I can get a picture. Go ahead and sit with him, please.
She said sit over here with him.
Yeah,
Sit
go ahead
with
and sit with her.
I'm just trying to think of people that
Can't get that kind of.
that you could interview.
Open it.
Yeah, just pop it.
I'm going to close this just a minute because I'm getting quite a glare from.
Oh, how
Yeah.
nice! It won't show up.
And they can't come back for seconds. huh?
No, that's a no. Shucks, Holly.
Okay.
And don't look at you into the mirror. And there you are. You like to take pictures of night off.
But Mama, that's history.
I know
If you
that
don't
is-
have it, you won't be able to preserve it.
I won't know anything about it.
I'll get this film developed and you'll have a special folder in my room. We have a special file cabinet. It's all locked up and it'll go in that folder and all this will be transferred to Casper College. And when I have time, you'll get copies of the pictures.
All righty, yes.
You think that's it? Anything else you want to share with us, Easter?
Not right off.
Did she get all her questions asked?
Mhm.
Because we cut her off.
Did she?
I have a
Did you?
tendency to take over.
I know that. Oh,
She
I
was so
guess,
soft-spoken, though.
I can sit and think of a lot of things. Absolutely.
Where was this?
Right down here where they talking about putting a park for the,
Isn't that where the city department is now?
yeah, right down below,
Beach Street.
no, right below the pool here.
Marion Craner Park, which is Beach Street over there.
Well, wherever.
Mm.
What was the name? It was a
I can't think of it.
restaurant?
I can't think of the name of it.
All I remember, we used to be able to get a soda pop there.
Oh, yeah, she had just a little, it was just a little eat place she had. And she really didn't lie. They would start and then she soon closed when more black started, coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And the older young men, I would say, the younger, not the teenagers. See, she had it mostly for teenagers. And the older, when they started, drinking, then she closed it down and whatnot. So, but she kept it open quite a few years. But she had a little place for the teenagers.
Just for the teenagers, huh?
But it wasn't just for black either. It was all mixed. It wasn't just for black, because this is where a lot of the white young teenagers came in. They would.
And how did you view your community as you was raising your kids here? I'm serious.
I'll tell you what. These kids will tell me. My kids did not run the streets. My kids, they live here. And when I leave or go, I thought everything I possibly could entertain them with was inside the house or in the backyard. They knew they weren't allowed to be out on the street. And I did send them to church. They went to church every Sunday.
Which
school
church?
Grace A&E. Until this one here got grown and she left Grace A&E and went to the Baptist.
I became an individual, okay?
But my kids did not. They did not. I don't know. They keep telling me I was so strict on them, and I don't know how I raised them. So they tell me I was so strict.
But answer the question: how did you view your community as far as raising your kids here?
Well, it wasn't bad at this time. That's what I'm saying.
No, you didn't say it yet, but
Is that what you're trying to get me to say?
yeah, because I felt like we as a community was closer knit.
And we didn't have a problem.
I had five,
Okay,
six,
you
seven
want
mothers.
me to tell me? You want me to tell her that
all the
if
connections she had.
they could be 6 or 7 blocks away from me. When they got home, I would know what went on, because the community, like she said, would call and tell me that Easter, your children was such and such, and here they did such and such a thing. And see, it was okay for those people to do whatever to correct my children. But now, people don't want nobody else correcting their children.
In other words, it was just like that old African proverb where it takes an entire village to raise a child. Now that's the kind of environment you raised your
That's
kids
the way
in.
I raised mine, yeah.
That's why I was trying to get her to.
Oh, that's what you're trying to put. But anyway, but see now, you don't find that today. Even my children don't want. My children don't mind me.
Disciplining your grandkids.
To a certain extent. But you see, I am the kind, and then I would have to go to jail. They would know, most times, if we was in service and a little bit of noise made up, I'd turn my eyes that way, quiet, just like that. I wouldn't have to say a word. And if we was in a car or something and something went on, I wouldn't say nothing. I'd backhand them, just like that. That was it.
And what is
Couldn't
it?
do that today.
What was it called today?
Child
Abuse. Yeah.
Child abuse. That is what's wrong with the world today. The Bible says what?
Each generation.
Spare the rod.
Well, you talking about spare the rod, spoil the child, or each generation is wiser but yet weaker?
Yeah, that's true too. But if you do not chastise that child, let him know that you and that it is grown up. But these children nowadays think they are the grown ups. This is where a lot of the problem is. But I was telling them, even my grandchildren, I can't handle them now. I couldn't, because I know where I would be. In jail.
No, you wouldn't.
I would be in jail, because I would with
Well, that'd be after a series of
Is it-
court-mandated parenting
Yeah,
classes.
because I heard you make reference to where people said it was a good environment to raise your kids in, and that's because the community was a little bit more interactive with one another. You know, we knew our neighbors. Well,
Then,
I can't
too.
even tell you who my neighbors are today.
Then too, we don't have, maybe then when I wasn't out there, then I'm still not out there. But I don't have to be out there when I can hear the drugs. The drugs have taken over this
the
town.
usage of drugs have escalated immensely. More poison and toxic too, probably
That is
now.
one of the problems here. And then our policemen don't do nothing. I hate to say it. But ride on taxpayers' money and drink coffee.
Who's that, the policeman?
Mm-hmm.
You say they're at fault?
No, but they don't try to. They will drive up and they can be something going right here in this park.
They ignore it.
Mhm.
You don't know any stories of police brutality or anything against minorities, do you? Have you heard anything about that?
No, it would depend whether you. I've seen them arrest people right here. Maybe I would too. Right here on my corner here. Maybe they have to manhandle some of them.
It'll be a little aggressive.
They might have to be because I'm looking at the individual they're arresting too. You see, so I can't say brutality with them, but they, no doubt, would have to. If you don't, that individual might take over the policeman, a woman, a man.
And like you said, it would be a different perspective, because when I was growing up, we had a more of a rapport with police when I was growing up. Skip Gillum used
You
to
remember
patrol.
him? You remember Skip?
We used to patrol this area, and
Pardon?
Can we have this done?
Yes, Marion M.R.
Video and bass.
Could we have your your name and could you spell it out?
Mm-hmm. It's Nick G. Brattis. That's Brattis.
Could we have your address?
You want the store address here? Probably 310 West A.
And you own this grocery store with your brother John,
Yes,
right?
we're partners.
Okay, like I said, Nick, as we go along, if we ask any questions you don't want to answer, you feel free to do
Fine,
so.
you betcha.
How long have you lived in Casper?
Since 1933. But I've lived in Wyoming all my life.
Where did you come from?
Hartville, Wyoming.
Hartville.
That's in Platte County. My dad used to work in the iron mine down there until they closed up.
So what brought you from Hartville to Casper then?
That was it, the mine shutting down. My uncle moved us up here.
The whole family?
Mm-hmm.
Can we have your date of birth?
January the 20th, 1920.
So you-
That's January 23rd, 1920, excuse me.
So you moved here as a teenager then?
Mm-hmm. I started high school here.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you start at NCHS?
Mm-hmm.
What were your
Yeah.
experiences at NCHS? Can you tell
Well,
us about
I
that?
was coming from a little town like Hartville. I was scared of everybody.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? This was a big town for me because there was only a few hundred people in Hartville,
Mhm.
and I always seemed like I kind of stayed in the background. And
What did your father do here then?
well, my dad was a common laborer, just whatever he could do.
Mhm. Where did you live?
On the 1700 block East 2nd. The house isn't there anymore. It's Granny's is there now.
Where Granny's is, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in that neighborhood, so I'm
Is that
familiar
right?
with it. And your mom?
My mother died when I was 6 years old in Hartville.
Was it just you and your brother then?
No, there's 5 of us.
Wow, single parent father, 5
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah, and he never remarried.
Could you just start telling us about your life here and what led into the grocery store and relocation of the sandbar, et
when I
cetera?
first came to Casper, I mean, of course, it was during Depression, and we'd do any kind of work we could. And we started peddling newspapers, my brother and I, and like on on Saturday we'd sell Denver Post there in front of the Table Supply.
Mhm.
And if we sold 100 papers that day, we made $2. So we each had $1 apiece, which sounds terrible right now, but it was pretty good for us. It was $1 apiece, which was a lot of money in them days. It isn't now, I know. And then I had the paper route, and it was in this area. And there was quite a few colored people down here, and I became friends with a lot of them. It's hard to remember a lot of the names, but they were awful good to me. I mean, we'd sit and talk, and Then as I got a little older, I went to work for the Table Supply grocery store.
About what age was that, do you remember?
I would say, let's see, about 15. Then after working there a year or so, before I graduated, I was working for the Safeway. And the Safeway was located where Buy Right Drugstore is now.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. And
Okay.
World War II came along, and I joined the Marines. My brother was already in the National Guard, so he ended up in Patton's Third Army in Germany, and I ended up in the Pacific.
Where in the Pacific?
Well, we started off way down in New Hebrides, and the last place we went into was the Marianas. That was Guam.
Okay.
And then the war, then the atom bomb came out, so it wasn't too long after that that they started letting us all out of the service. I got back here, and I don't know, I was there maybe a month or two, and then I got my discharge. When I came back, I went to the Safeway to see if they had a job for me, and at that time they didn't. They had, the women had taken over all the jobs after the men left.
What year did you get back, do you remember?
1945,
And what year did you leave for the war?
1942.
Okay. Okay, so Safeway had no opening for you?
No, and then these two old Greek fellas had the old store across the street, which is torn down now. The name of the store was Plattus and Maragos.
How do you spell it?
Plattos and Maragos, Maragos. And one day this fellow saw me on the street and says, would you like to buy, or no, first he says, would you like to manage this store? And if you don't want to manage it, if you want to sell, buy it, we'll sell it to you, or vice versa. And if you don't want to buy it, you can manage it. So I got together with my brother and we decided to buy it. So we started in the grocery business, and as of February 3rd, 1946, we were in business, my brother and I.
Asbratis Grocery.
That's 51 years ago.
Can you talk about the sandbar, because you were in the sandbar at a very historic time. Can you tell us everything you know about the sandbar?
Well, there was quite a few eating places down here that were run by the colored people. Southern Mansion was run by John and I can't think of her first name now, but anyhow, it was John and his wife Collins, C-O-L-L-I-N-S.
Okay.
And they run the Southern Mansion, was famous for barbecue.
Okay.
And he was quite a piano player.
They were Afro-American?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there was other sandwich shops around. One was Ruth and Slim. It was run by two people. And of course then there was Fanny Bell, who had the chicken restaurant. If anybody wanted good fried chicken, they always went there. And it was over here on A Street, just a block up from where my store was. And, I can tell you a little story about Fanny. She was a colored lady, and one day there was somebody in my store that was making trouble. And I told him he'd have to get outside, and when he got outside, he started scuffling with me, and he also pulled a knife on me, and in the meantime, Fanny Bell was right there by the door, and she hollered at me to come back in, and she wouldn't let me out. She threw herself across the door on me. I never will forget that.
Was she small, large?
She wasn't too tall, but she was husky.
Husky.
Uh-huh.
The man you were scuffling with, was he white or Afro-American?
He was Afro-American,
Okay.
and we called the police, and we found out after that he had just gotten out of penitentiary, so I don't know what happened after that, but I was pretty lucky I didn't get hurt.
Yeah, that would make
Yeah.
that would make a memory.
Yeah. And another thing that with the colored people that I'll never forget, this old lady lived catty corner from my old store at the corner of Ash and A. And apparently she stayed awake nights quite a bit. And she was an older lady. I would put her in her, probably 50s or 60s. And it's amazing how many times she stopped people from breaking in my store at night because she was awake and she'd see them over there. And she'd holler at them and scare them away. And I mean, I never will forget that. That saved me a lot of break-ins, I'll tell you.
And she was an Afro-American too?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't remember her name?
Yeah, her name was Bessie Miller.
Bessie Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Were you the only grocery store down here then?
No, there was one on B Street. It was called West B Grocery. And one of the owners passed away, and the kids run it for a while, and then they closed it up.
Other memories?
Well, I tell you, I met some real nice people down here. I used to have a guy by the name of Eddie Moon. I think he was quite a boxer. And he would, I had, in my old store there, we had the floor that was taken out of a bowling alley that was torn down on First Street. And that was our floor, and he would take care of it for me, oil it and that, you know. And we became real good friends. In fact, he was the one who passed away, and I went to his funeral, and I don't think I ever heard a nicer obituary than that. I guess that's what you call it.
The eulogy?
Eulogy.
Yeah. Can you tell us anything about Eddie Moon?
Well, Eddie Moon did a lot of janitor work. I think he janitored for the steward shop and other places. And he was well liked. He was a nice little guy. And, of course, he was married and had his wife. And I don't remember if he had any children. As far as I know, he didn't anyhow. But we became good friends. I mean, he would come in and do my work for me. And just a real nice person.
His name has come up before. I'm trying to remember.
Another fellow that I became good friends with, his name was Chuck Morris, and he could really play the piano. And I know he played for the places around down here, but he also played for the Riverside nightclub, which was over in North Casper.
While we're on the subject of the clubs, the Cozy Club, we're getting really conflicting reports about that the Grays owned it, that they were Afro-American. Some people have told us no, blacks could not go in. Other people have told us yes, blacks could go in. What do you know?
I don't know about that. I can't answer that.
Okay.
But it was run by man and wife there, and it was kind of a nice spot.
Other?
Well, that's about all the places. There was a few sandwich shops around, but I can't remember all the names.
Do you remember Elvin Placide? He lived down here.
He still lives down here.
Yeah, we've interviewed him.
Yeah,
He
he's
really
over
enjoyed
at
that.
the apartments there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a sandwich shop right up the street here, and it was across from the Fanny Bell's down this way. But I can't think of her name that was in with him there. And that was also a sandwich shop and a nightclub.
Sounds like there are a few of those down here. Huh?
Quite a few.
Yeah. What about yourself, Nick? When you got back from the war, you met your wife. Tell us about that.
My wife worked for American Pipe for Fred Goodstein. That was when it was over in that tin building that's still standing there. And she'd come down for coffee, pick up coffee and sugar and that for the office. And we got acquainted, and we started dating, and we got married, and we raised two fine boys.
Okay, what's her name?
Margaret, it used to be Margaret Frank.
F-R-A-N-C or K?
F-R-A-N-K.
Okay. And your two sons' names?
One is Nick and the other is Mike. Nick is the eye doctor and Mike's here in the store with me.
Okay. And what about John then? He went on to...
John, the only reason he's not here now is John has developed lung cancer, and he's on oxygen all the time, but he is still a partner in the store.
And did he marry?
Oh yeah, he married Patsy Shoemaker, and they have two girls.
Who are?
Bridget and Chris. And of course, they've been married and had kids too, and then there's grandchildren on both sides of them.
Okay. What about your other siblings, since there were 5 of you? It was you and John and...
Well, my oldest brother He graduated from Sunrise High School. That was down by Hartville. That's where my dad worked. And so did my sister Helen. And they both graduated from Sunrise, and they both passed away. Jim passed away during World War II, and Helen just passed away a few years ago. Then Mary, she helped, well, she took my job at Safeway, I think, when I left. And then when I got the store, she came and worked for us. And of course, she just passed away here about a year or so ago. She died of cancer.
Sorry.
So that leaves me and John.
I'm also going through the loss of the siblings thing. You don't think that's going to happen to you, do
Yeah.
you? It's quite some.
Yeah.
Okay, your years at the grocery store down here then, were there a lot of Afro-American clients?
Yes, there was, this area was all Afro-American and Spanish. Uh-huh.
Did you ever experience discrimination to those people from other people in the store?
I don't, well, once in a while you might, but it was nothing vicious or bad, you know what I mean? People got along real good down there, and they still do. And what I mean is, I don't remember having any problems in the store over anything like that.
Were you aware of other problems around that area in the community at all, or in the sandbar?
Well, what do you mean?
Discrimination of any
Well,
sort?
no, I can't say I did. So, people down here got along pretty good, and I tell you, the colored people have been awful good to me.
That's what Marion has said too. What about when urban renewal came along? You built this store with the urban renewal, right?
Yeah.
What do you know about the displaced families, the African American?
Well, I really don't know too much about them because I really don't know where they moved them. I'm sure they moved them all over town, but well, excuse, I've got to get it.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm sorry, we're moved off from down here. But I mean, I know some were moved up, right up on the south part of Casper, like off of 8th and 9th Street and Ash Street, and but as far as where most of these other people went, I really don't know. All I know is that they left the sandbar.
Were there people that you remember who were regular customers that you can tell us about who might have been Afro-American?
I have one trading right now. He just retired a few years ago from the post office. His name is Chester Broadnax. And,
We've interviewed Chester.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
And Chester still trades with me. And a lot of these colored people I met, we used to deliver the restaurants a lot of merchandise. And a lot of them worked in the kitchens. And of course then they would come in and trade with me too. And but most of the people that lived down here, it wasn't hard to get acquainted with them because they were all friendly people as far as I was concerned. I never had any problems other than that one trench at that time that came in and made trouble.
It's hard to get over things like that.
Oh, yeah.
When you're scared.
Well, it worried. I was lucky, really.
Your experiences in the public schools here, if you graduated from NCHS, were
Yes.
there any Afro-Americans going to school at that time?
Yeah, there was very few. And really, I can't think of any. I know there was a Davis. Now, I think he was more in my brother's class than mine, and my brother was back behind me 2 or 3 years. I think his name was Bob Davis. And of course, after that, and then, years ago, when we first moved here, and we heard about Taft Harris. I guess he was quite an athlete, but he was, I think he graduated in about 29. See, I just started high school at 33.
His name has come up lots of
Yeah,
times.
I guess he was a real good athlete.
Chris, anything on that? What are your favorite memories of living in Casper, Nick?
Well, let me think. I think the happiest I was ever is when I got back from the war. I mean, I could always picture the mountains when I was gone, you know, when I was overseas. But I don't know, we were a poor family. It didn't take much to make us happy. In other words, we all worked. The girls worked, we worked, and you couldn't have had a better dad than we did. He never remarried, and I mean, he raised 5 kids, and you won't find that very
That's
often.
remarkable, yeah.
Yeah.
What about worst memories? Anything? Probably that scuffle you had with
Yeah,
that
that,
truncheon.
well, when I stop and think about it, it scared me. And then we got a couple calls. Oh, once our store, it wasn't our store was burning, but one of the motors was stuck, and there was smoke in the building. They thought it was a fire, and that was an awful thing to wake up to when they call you at your house and say your store's on fire, which it wasn't. It was just the motor was stuck, and it was. But it took about a week to get the smell out of the store from the burnt rubber.
I can tell overall Casper's been good for you, though.
Oh yes.
You think it's been a good community for the Afro-Americans, too?
Beg pardon?
You think it's been a good community